All right. Hollywood loves a good story right now, especially one about legacy. And, well, this year's Oscars are bringing us just that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're going deep on something pretty unique. Those mother-daughter pairs, both nominated for acting Oscars.
Wow.
It's like, rare.
It is, yeah. It really is.
Almost unheard of.
Yeah.
But get this. This year, we have not one BUT2 pairs nominated.
Oh, wow.
We've got Fernanda Torres.
Okay.
She's nominated for I'm Still Here. And then you have her mom, Fernanda Montenegro, who was nominated back in '99 for Central Station.
Wow. Okay.
And then we have Isabella Rossellini, nominated for Conclave. And of course, her mother is the legendary Ingrid Bergman.
It's amazing, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
what are the chances?
Right. It really makes you think, like, is this destiny or just really, really good genes?
Or maybe a bit of both.
Yeah, or maybe a bit of both.
It's fascinating.
But before we, get too carried away with the speculation, you mentioned this has happened before, so where do we even start to kind of unpack this whole thing?
Well, we got to start with the OGs, the originals.
Yeah.
The very first mother and daughter to both be nominated. That's Judy Garland and Liza Minnelli.
Okay, wait, before we go any further,
Yeah.
because I'm already noticing a little pattern here.
Okay.
Both Garland and Montenegro were up for Best Actress, right?
Yes.
But didn't win.
Right.
So is this a predictor for Torres? You know what I mean? Like some kind of Oscar curse almost?
Whoa, hold on. Let's not get ahead of ourselves and start talking about curses.
Okay.
I mean, Judy Garland, she was actually nominated twice
Oh, really?
for Best Actress. Yeah. First, for A Star is Born '54.
Okay.
And the story goes that they were so sure that she would win that they had a camera crew set up in her hospital room.
In her hospital room.
She had just given birth.
Wow.
Talk about dedication.
Oh my gosh. I mean, to have a camera crew waiting for you in the hospital room and then lose?
I know.
Whew, it's gotta hurt.
It's brutal.
Brutal.
But her daughter Liza had her own moment. She ended up winning Best Actress for Cabaret in '72.
Okay, so there's hope for Torres yet.
Yeah.
But that brings up another interesting point, right? Like,
Yeah.
in both of those pairs, there's one winner.
Right.
And it's often the daughter, right?
Yeah, interesting. Right.
That is interesting, yeah.
And it gets even more intriguing if you look at the other mother-daughter duos that have been nominated. Like, take Diane Ladd and Laura Dern.
Oh, yes. Diane Ladd, Laura Dern. Didn't they, make Oscar history in their own right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. They were the first mother-daughter pair to be nominated in the same year.
Wow, same year. Wow.
Yep, back in '91 for the film Rambling Rose. Diane Ladd was nominated for Best Supporting Actress, and Laura Dern for Best Actress.
And neither won that year, but
Yeah.
Laura Dern has gone on to win Best Supporting Actress for Marriage Story.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, again, one winner from that pair.
Yeah, that's 3 pairs and only 1 winner in each. So, okay, this one winner pattern, I gotta admit, this is, blowing my mind a little bit.
I know, it's kind of crazy.
It makes you think if, there's some unconscious bias going on, or, maybe voters are more likely to recognize the next generation.
Yeah,
Maybe there's something about learning from your mother's experience.
that's a good point. It's like they're passing on the torch or something.
Right, exactly. Yeah, like passing the torch.
But we can't forget there's one more iconic pair to add to the mix. You've got Janet Leigh and Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, yes, Jamie Lee Curtis, the Scream Queen herself. And then her mother, Janet Leigh, in, arguably one of the most famous horror films of all time.
Oh, Psycho.
Psycho.
Yep.
Yes.
That's a classic.
I mean, Janet Leigh's performance in Psycho, especially that shower scene, is just iconic. It's cemented her place in cinematic history.
Right.
And then, all these years later, her daughter wins an Oscar for Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's like, talk about a legacy coming full circle.
It's full circle, yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
All right, so that brings us back to this year's nominees, right?
Yeah.
So Ingrid Bergman, she's already got 3 Oscars to her name. So the Bergman-Rossellini duo, they already fit that one winner mold.
They do, yeah.
But then that leaves us with Fernanda Torres and Fernanda Montenegro.
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it?
It is, if Torres wins, does she break the pattern?
Right.
I mean, this is where things get even more interesting because both she and her mother actually starred in I'm Still Here together.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So is this a shared victory even if only one of them takes home the award?
It adds a whole other dimension to the story, that's for sure.
It does. Okay. But let's not forget, they've got some stiff competition this year, right?
Absolutely.
So Torres is facing Cynthia Erivo, who's nominated for Wicked. Then there's Carla Sofia Gascon for Amelia Perez. There's Mikey Madison for Nora.
And don't forget Demi Moore.
Oh, yeah. Demi Moore for the substance.
It's a tough category.
It is. And then you go over to the Best Supporting Actress category, and you have Rossellini, who is up against Monica Barbaro, who's nominated for a complete unknown. Then we have Ariana Grande for Wicked.
Right.
We've got Felicity Jones for The Brutalist, and Zoe Saldana for Emilia Paris.
It's a stacked category for sure.
It is, yeah.
It'll be interesting to see who comes out on top.
So even with this whole, one winner trend, it's really anyone's game this year.
Totally.
I think we've laid some really good groundwork here.
Yeah, for sure.
We have our contenders, we've got some historical context.
Right.
And we've got this curious pattern that we're going to unpack.
Definitely. I'm excited to dive deeper.
I am too. But before we go any further, I think we need to take a closer look at each of these dynamic duos. Starting with that legendary pair that kicked it all off, Judy Garland and Liza Minnelli.
Let's do it. Let's rewind the clock and dive into their stories.
I love it. Let's go.
Judy Garland, she was just a force of nature, Even today, her role in A Star is Born is considered one of the most powerful performances ever.
Oh, absolutely.
Captured on film. And she just brought this raw vulnerability to the role. And audiences just connected with her, just viscerally.
It's amazing to think she was only 31 when she filmed that.
I know, right?
And to think that she did it all while dealing with the pressure of fame and the studio system and, not to mention a difficult personal life.
Yeah, definitely.
It just makes that whole camera in the hospital room story even more poignant, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
It really does. And it just speaks to her dedication
to
her craft, But it's not just her dramatic roles that resonated with audiences. She also had this incredible comedic timing.
Oh, totally.
Think back to her early films with Mickey Rooney.
Right.
She can make you laugh just as easily as she can make you cry.
That's so true. I remember watching her in Meet Me in St. Louis and being like, wow, this woman, she can sing, dance, act. She was a true triple threat.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And her daughter, Liza Minnelli, she inherited that same multifaceted talent. She took the stage by storm, won a Tony Award at just 19 years old.
Wow.
And then, of course, there's Cabaret.
Oh, iconic.
Right, a film that really showcased her incredible range as a performer.
I actually rewatched Cabaret recently, and it's amazing how relevant it still feels today.
Yeah, for sure.
The themes of political unrest and social change and just finding your identity in this chaotic world. It's it all just resonates so strongly.
Yes, it does. And Minnelli's performance as Sally Bowles.
So good.
It's unforgettable. She just embodies that character's spirit of defiance. Her vulnerability, her desire to just be loved. It's a masterclass in acting.
It really is. It's interesting how both Garland and Minnelli embrace these strong, complex female characters.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if there was a conscious decision there to break away from the more stereotypical roles that women were often relegated to at that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. And it speaks to the power of having those strong female role models.
Right.
Both on screen and off.
Yeah.
But that one winner pattern, it's not just limited to those who came from Hollywood dynasties.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Take Diane Ladd and Laura Dern, for example.
Okay.
They represent a different kind of Hollywood legacy, one built on consistent work.
Yeah.
Strong performances and a willingness to take risks.
It's funny you mentioned that because when I think of Laura Dern, I immediately think of Jurassic Park and Big Little Lies.
Oh, yeah.
She chooses these roles that are both commercially successful and critically acclaimed.
Exactly. And she's not afraid to play characters who are flawed, complex,
right,
even unlikable at times.
Right. She brings real depth to her roles.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes her such a captivating actress.
Absolutely.
And then her mother, Diane Ladd, she's been working steadily in Hollywood for decades. She's been in everything from classic westerns to cult favorites.
Yeah, it's incredible.
They both seem to have this incredible work ethic and a real passion for the craft.
Right. And let's not forget, they were nominated for Oscars for the same film.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Rambling Rose.
Rambling Rose, yeah.
It wasn't a blockbuster or anything.
No.
But it showcased both of their talents beautifully.
It's like they were saying, hey, we're here, we're both talented.
Yeah.
And we deserve recognition.
Exactly.
And you know what? They got it, even if they didn't win that year.
They did.
It's a testament to their individual strengths as actresses, I think.
Absolutely. And speaking of strong women, we can't forget Goldie Hawn and Kate Hudson.
Oh, right.
They bring like a certain energy
Oh, yeah.
and charisma
Total.
to the screen,
Yeah.
like a joyful fearlessness
Yeah.
that's just infectious.
Absolutely. When I think of Goldie Hawn, I think of like laughter, warmth, and like that radiant smile. She just like lights up the screen.
She does.
And her win for Cactus Flower was like well deserved.
Oh, yeah,
It was a breakout role for her, showcased her comedic brilliance.
it did. And then Kate Hudson, she followed suit, earning an Oscar nomination for Almost Famous.
Almost Famous, yeah.
She brought like a similar energy to that role,
Yeah.
kind of their free-spiritedness that really connected with audiences.
It's interesting how both Goldie and Kate have like managed to balance their careers with motherhood.
It is, yeah.
You know, they haven't let like societal expectations
Right.
dictate their choices. They've
Right.
forged their own path.
Mhm.
And I think that resonates with like a lot of women.
Oh, absolutely. They're not afraid to be themselves,
Yeah.
and they don't apologize for it.
Right.
And that's a powerful message to send, especially in an industry that often tries to put women in boxes.
So true. So true. Now, speaking of women who defy expectations,
Right.
we have to talk about Jamie Lee Curtis. I mean, she took the mantle of like scream queen from her mother, Janet Leigh,
Right.
and turned it into this career that like spans decades.
I know. It's incredible to think that Janet Leigh's performance in Psycho
Oh, yeah.
is still considered one of the most iconic horror scenes of all time.
Absolutely.
I mean, that shower scene,
It's legendary.
it's forever etched in our collective cinematic memory.
Oh, for sure.
It is. And then Jamie Lee Curtis, while she did build her career in horror,
Yeah.
she's also like branched out into other genres. I mean,
Mhm.
she's done comedy, drama, action films. She's proven that she's more than just a scream queen.
Yes.
And her recent Oscar win for Everything Everywhere All at Once, I mean, that just solidified her place as a Hollywood legend.
In her own right. Yeah.
In her own right, exactly. But, you know, it also speaks to something else that we touched on earlier,
Oh, okay.
that idea of legacy and how it can, like, both help and hinder a career.
Right, because on the one hand, you have this incredible family history in the industry, you
Yeah.
know, this wealth of experience to draw from.
Right.
But on the other hand, you're constantly being compared to your parent. Like, you're living in their shadow, so to speak.
Yeah, for sure. It makes you wonder, does having a famous parent ultimately help or hurt?
Right.
Is it a blessing or a curse?
It's a tough question, and there's really no easy answer, I think.
No, not really.
But I think it's important to remember that each of these women,
Yeah,
both mothers and daughters, have faced their own unique challenges and triumphs.
absolutely. And as we shift our focus to this year's nominees,
Okay.
Fernanda Torres and Isabella Rossellini,
Mm-hmm.
we need to keep that in mind.
Right.
They're stepping into some pretty big shoes.
They are. But they're also carving out their own paths.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about Fernanda Torres.
Okay.
Her mother, Fernanda Montenegro, was the first Brazilian actress ever nominated for an Oscar.
Wow.
That's huge.
I know. That's incredible.
And it really speaks to the power of representation.
Yes.
And the importance of, like, diversity in Hollywood.
Absolutely.
And not only is Fernanda Torres following in her mother's footsteps, but they also starred in I'm Still Here together.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's like a double dose of legacy
It really is. And
Yeah.
it just highlights that, like, unique bond.
between a mother and daughter, especially when they share a passion for the same craft.
Totally. Now let's talk about Isabella Rossellini.
Okay.
I mean, her mother, Ingrid Bergman, she was a true Hollywood icon, right?
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, 3 Oscars.
Right.
Starred in countless classics.
I mean, from Casablanca.
Casablanca, notorious.
Yes, she was known for her, like, natural beauty,
Yes.
her captivating screen presence,
Mhm.
and just, like, her ability to convey such a wide range of emotions, you know, with such subtlety and grace.
She was one of a kind.
One of a kind, truly.
And Isabella Rossellini, while inheriting like her mother's beauty,
Yeah.
has really like carved out her own unique path.
She has.
I mean, she's appeared in films like Blue Velvet and Death Becomes for showcasing like her range and willingness to take on these unconventional roles.
and let's not forget, she's also a successful model and author, too.
Oh, right.
She's like a true Renaissance woman.
She is, yeah.
It seems like creativity runs deep in that family.
It really does. It makes you wonder like how much of that is nature versus nurture, you know?
That's the age-old question, isn't it?
It is.
And it's something we'll continue to explore, you know, as we delve deeper into the lives and careers of these incredible women.
Okay, so we've covered, like, a lot of ground here.
We have.
We've looked at, like, the history of mother-daughter Oscar nominees. We've explored this, like, one winner pattern.
Yeah.
We've discussed the challenges and triumphs of, like, navigating a career in Hollywood with a famous parent.
Right.
But, like, what does it all mean? Like, what's the takeaway for our listeners?
That's a great question, and I think the answer lies in the stories themselves.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more. Yeah, what can we learn from these incredible women and their journeys?
Well, I think their stories remind us that talent, passion, and a strong work ethic can, transcend generations. And it's fascinating to see how these mothers and daughters, connected by blood, and this shared profession, they each carved out these unique identities in Hollywood.
It's true. It would have been so easy to just ride on their mother's coattails.
Oh, yeah.
But they didn't.
They didn't.
They forged their own W paths. Think about Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
I mean, she could have easily been pigeonholed as a horror actress, like following in her mom's footsteps.
Right.
But she didn't. She took risks, explored different genres, and she won an Oscar ultimately for a film that celebrates individuality.
Yeah, and embracing the unexpected.
Totally. It's a powerful testament to her versatility.
It is.
And speaking of expectations, I keep coming back to this idea of legacy.
Right.
It's a double-edged sword, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, on one hand, it opens doors, provides opportunities, but then, it also creates this immense pressure to live up to a certain standard.
Totally. It's a delicate balance, for sure.
It is.
Like Laura Dern, she comes from this family with a long history in the industry, but she's also made a name for herself, right? Choosing those roles that challenge conventions and defy expectations. She's not afraid to be vulnerable and to portray characters that are, flawed and complex.
And her mother, Diane Ladd, has worked in Hollywood for decades.
Decades, yeah.
Quietly building a career based on solid performances.
Yeah.
And a willingness to embrace, like, a variety of roles.
Absolutely, yeah.
They both really demonstrate that success in this industry, isn't just about fame or fortune. It's about dedication to the craft.
Absolutely. And I think it's worth noting that both Fernanda Torres and Isabella Rossellini are choosing projects that align with their own artistic sensibilities.
Oh, right.
Regardless of their mother's legacies. And Fernanda Torres is starring in a film with her mother.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Which is such a unique and bold choice.
It is. And then you have Isabella Rossellini, who, with her diverse career, right?
Yeah.
Film, modeling, writing.
Yeah.
It shows us that it's okay to explore different avenues of creativity. Like, she's not limited by any one label or expectation.
They're all proof that you can honor your family's legacy while also creating your own.
It's powerful, yeah.
And that's such a powerful message for anyone, regardless of their background or profession.
So, like, as we head into this year's Oscars, it's not just about who wins or loses.
Right.
It's about celebrating the unique journeys of these talented women and, like, acknowledging how they're shaping their own narratives, within the context of their family history.
Well said. Well said. And it's going to be fascinating to see what they do next.
Yeah.
Because one thing is certain, they're not done yet.
Not even close.
They're all still working, creating, pushing boundaries.
I'm walking away with a newfound appreciation for, the complexities of legacy, the importance of individuality, and the power of a strong work ethic. What a ride.
It really is. It's been a pleasure exploring all of this with you. And I hope our listeners maybe are inspired to dig a little deeper into their own family history. You never know what hidden talents or stories you might find.
Oh, that's such a good point. Sometimes the most compelling journeys are the ones that begin right in our own backyards.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive
Of course.
into the world of Oscar-nominated mother-daughter duos and the enduring legacies they carry.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our listeners, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those deep dives going.